Not too long ago, I made a video covering a web series on Crypt TV called The Look-See. It's written and directed by a man called Landon Stahmer, and the show is currently in production on its second season. After I made the video giving my thoughts on the show, I managed to get in contact with some of the people over at Crypt TV, and they allowed me to have a little interview with Landon himself. Obviously, he couldn't answer all questions I had, but we got some pretty interesting insight about the show itself.
Hi, my name is Landon Stahmer. I'm the creator and director of The Look-See on Crypt TV.
Was there anyone who inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Yes, James Wan is my hero above all heroes. I even have an ink drawing of the Conjuring poster that hangs near my desk and near my heart. I just love everything that James Wan does. He's tonally spot on all the time. His scares, his visuals, his characters and story, he is just awesome. And he captures a feeling for each movie. Like, he wants his scary movies to feel like haunted houses, and they do. They're great.
Do you have any writing techniques that help you come up with new ideas or stories when filmmaking?
I think a writing technique that works for me is stream of consciousness writing, and that looks like opening up a document and writing a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense, and it's just like verbally processing, but like on a computer, because I can't internally process that well. And so I just write out, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I think the monster is, scratch that, this is what the monster is, scratch that, this is what the monster is, this is how it's going to end up, these are where the characters go. And then at the end of it, you like realize that most of that didn't matter, but you got that out of your system. So stream of consciousness writing really helps me. Most of it's trash, but I get to the place where hopefully I'm supposed to get it.
What were the inspirations behind the design of the Look-See creature?
The design of the Look-See creature. The inspiration behind it is thematic. The idea that this monster would be pieced together. He kind of looks like he's pieced together by other people, like pieces of skin and that kind of thing. So that's why he looks like that. And then with the rest of it, his clothes are fairly generic. It is a suit, but it's not like super time specific, and he can fit in a lot of different environments. So being in the past, in different times, we can take him a lot of different places. And then his hands are just creepy. And the red gloves are a nice pop of evil, and blood is really represented in the red color.
Your first episode works really well as a standalone short horror story. Did you have the whole story planned out before writing the first episode?
As far as the story goes, we didn't know that we were going to bring Jenny back at that time. We didn't know that it was even going to turn into anything more than this short film. But then 4 million views later in a week, it was really cool to see this thing that sort of organically grow. And then we had to also create something that would organically grow. We learned pretty quickly like how we can scale this from the original short.
Do you create the sound effects yourself?
I do. The Look-See sound is actually just, but it's dropped an octave in post, but it's just that sound, and it kind of mimics this like clock sound, which has to do with the pocket watch. And yeah, everything else we don't really, we roll sound on set, but a lot of it is recreated in post with Foley, and I do all the Foley, so.
Show don't tell is a widely recognized principle in visual-based storytelling, and you appear to be using it to great effect. Do you plan on continuing this trend, or do you believe that there are elements that need to be explained through dialogue, narration, or some form of explanation?
I had started to write some dialogue in episode 4 and 5, and then the team at Crypt was like, what if we keep it without dialogue? I think we figured out a nice balance that shows like just enough of what's happening without revealing too much, because there's definitely a bigger story behind everything. And like no dialogue. I haven't seen Quiet Place yet, but I will be seeing it very soon, and that's a movie that doesn't use much dialogue, if any. I don't know, haven't seen it yet, heard it's great. But yeah, like I definitely think that there are some things that we're going to need to explain, and there's going to be character development that does talk, but I can't promise you that it's going to happen in season 2.
You've asked your fanbase to theorise on what they think will happen next. Have any of them come close to what is really going on?
Has anyone come close? Inside a Mind, this channel that I'm on right now, such a good job on theorizing this. I think there were like 2 spots which I don't want to point out, but I was like close, you're really close. But it makes me super excited that there's so many people that have posted theorization videos, that have done reactions, that have had super long comments that are thoughtful and talked about what they think is happening and where this is going, and that so many of them are so close to the same thing. So I feel like people are onto it. I feel like they get where we're going, and I'm really excited to show you what happens next.
And those are all the questions answered. Landon mentions that there are 2 things in my theory video that wasn't quite right, and if you think you can figure out what those 2 things are, then give the video a watch and see if you can figure it out. Thank you so much to Landon Stahmer and the crew at Crypt TV for allowing this interview to take place. You can watch all of Season 1 of The Look-See over at Crypt TV right now, and Season 2 is coming soon. In the meantime, you can watch my stuff, because it's amazing, of course. I talk about mysterious web series that you might be interested in watching, or even talk about some of your favourite movies that have deeper lores that you were completely unaware about. Yeah, it's all cool. Follow me on Twitter for some beautiful memes, and become a Patreon. I'm currently talking about new spooky YouTube channels that I'll probably be making videos on in the future, because spooky YouTube channels always get me. So thank you to all the Patrons who are donating at the current moment. They're all there below. They're fabulous people. I'm having chats with them daily, so it's pretty cool. I'll see you all guys in the next video. I don't know what that'll be. I'll surprise you.